Jesus, boys, girls, in-betweeners, how you doing? Ray Gamut here, and it's been a while since we sat down and just had a talk, hasn't it? My god. Reason for that being is that there really hasn't been a lot to talk about. This game's been, I don't want to sound disparaging, but it's been pretty stale for a while. The last time we got a major shake-up for the game was over a year ago, so it's been rough. But look, we got the winter update today. Well, we didn't get the winter update, but we got an update on what the winter update is going to be. So I don't want to waffle on too much with this intro. The big news out of this, we can talk about Dan, we can talk about Rose, we can talk about all the other stuff in other videos, talk about 11, that kind of business. What I'm really interested in right now and what I wanted to get my thoughts down on was V-Shift and how that's going to affect the game in general, because before I go into it, if you don't know what V-Shift is, it's the new mechanic that's being added to Street Fighter V in the new update, which is coming out later this month. And it basically represents a huge shake-up to the game. This is going to be really big, is my first thoughts. It's going to be bigger, it's going to have as much impact on the game as V-Triggers do. I really think so. Because it's just so dynamic. So what V-Shift does is you have two versions of it. They're both defensive options. What it basically does, and you're seeing on the screen right now, is that it allows the player who activates it, the cost of one V-Gauge, one little block, they get to basically dash backwards with full invincibility. So that's throw invincibility, projectile invincibility, hit invincibility, everything invincibility, right? Now, that itself is not too bad. However, what makes it more interesting is that if you time it properly, so if you time it against an incoming attack, it will cause like almost a Tekken 7-esque kind of slowdown, where you have the option to then react accordingly. Now you have two options. One of them is a simple knockdown move, which will allow you to surge forward with your character, and depending on what your character is, you'll perform a move which causes knockdown. So this is going to be like a universal punish, effectively. So it's there to punish moves that you may not be able to normally punish on block. That's one thing. The second thing is that you get an option called V-Shift Break, and that's completely different in that you come out of that full invincibility and effectively land a full combo. So you just get to go into your combo as you normally would, and as long as it works, as I suspect it normally should, you'll be able to get a full punish. And again, you can see some of that stuff going through on the screen right now. So that's huge. That's really big. I don't think anyone has really grasped the full implications of that just yet, because we've only had it for less than a day. So my thoughts on it, which I'm sure, which is why you're watching this video, to go through the positive stuff, I'm very excited. Because like I said, this game has been stale for a long time. The meta is completely settled, and we know the matchups, we know the characters. This game really, if it was going to stay fresh and interesting, needed something more than new characters. And this is it. And for once, as much as I bitch and moan about Capcom at any given opportunity, which is something that I'll probably do when we talk about 11, maybe in a different video, this is actually very impressive, because I thought Capcom being Capcom, they would take the easy way out and just be like, we're giving you critical art too, you get a different critical art to choose from, which would have been redundant, because damage is damage. It doesn't matter what it looks like, unless it was functionally different for every character and had a very unique property, it would have just been a cosmetic change, and that was really what I was expecting. So to have the guts to shake up the game to this degree so late in its life is pretty ballsy, and I will tip my invisible fedora to Capcom for doing that. So I'm very excited about this. It's like I said, it's a huge shift in how the game works. And it could really shake up the meta. It really could, because right now Street Fighter V is a game that absolutely rewards aggression. It 100%. It's very, like, if you look at any character that is heavily neutral based in this game, maybe with the exception of Chun, almost every other character is a mad rushdown character in top tier. And like I said, that speaks to how the game is designed from the ground up. It was always designed to be a game that relied on aggression. So this is going to make defense much more powerful. So I'm really excited to see how that shakes things up, even before we talk about things like balance and changing that around for other characters. In terms of drawbacks, however, I see some really big drawbacks. First of all is, this effectively makes V-Reverse redundant. Why would you ever use V-Reverse when you have V-Shift available to you instead? Because one of them has to be done on block, and is not throw invincible, and depending on the character that you're fighting against and how ready they are for it, you can be punished for it. So that's, compared to this seems much better. Obviously we don't know everything about it yet, but that kind of leads me into my next point, is that like, what potential is there to punish this? Now we do know that you only get the slowdown if you actually time your move correctly. I don't know whether it's whether if you activate it raw and you don't activate it in response to a move, if you just throw it out, whether that gives you that same invincibility or not. I'm pretty sure it does. So then the question becomes, what's the downside to it? Aside from draining your V-Gauge really fast if you keep throwing it out, what's the drawback? You know, can this be baited? Can it be punished? Because at the moment, it doesn't seem like it can be. Like, the only real drawback is that you can't rely on it for every option, because like I said, you'll just never have any V-Gauge. So that could be a problem, we don't know. And the other thing that really concerns me about this is that it makes the prospect of jump-ins absolutely terrifying. Because you think about it, if you jump in on someone, you're jumping forward, they activate V-Shift, they dash backwards, you're probably going to land roughly in front of each other, right? We didn't get to see that in the video. They only showed off grounded moves. I don't think they actually showed off any jump-in moves. Certainly not forward jump, only neutral jump if there was one. I don't think I saw it. So if every character now has the potential to get a full combo punish against a jump-in, why would you ever jump in? It's going to be Street Fighter 4 all over again, where it was just suicide to jump. Except this is going to be worse, because you get full combo punishes off jumps now. So that's one thing that really concerns me, because it may shift the game. Like, the game has been slowly, with the way that Capcom has been balancing it over the last few years, has been gradually moving away from that aggression-based playstyle and gradually settling into something more slow-paced. They did that with the V-trigger scaling, they did that with combo scaling. A lot of things there to really mitigate how fast you can kill someone. And jump-ins are never a good idea in general, obviously, you know, especially if you're playing against a skilled player, but you do need to do them sometimes, because if you don't do them, then obviously you're hamstringing yourself. So to take that away completely, I think is going to really slow the game right down, which was one of the big complaints about Street Fighter 4, is that it was just very, very slow, very meticulous in terms of playstyle. So that's my biggest concern about that. So it could go a lot of ways. We don't know everything about it. We don't know whether the damage that you inflict to your opponent will be great damage, or whether it will be full damage. I suspect it'll be full damage, especially off of the V-Shift. So many V's. The V-Shift break, I suspect will be full damage. But if it's Grey Life, great. Maybe that makes it a little bit less easy to use as a punish. But like I said, the overall, I mean, this is huge, and I am, like I said, very excited, because it does potentially make characters who are built around slower-paced playstyles, like Juri, a lot more viable, depending on how they go. Because we're looking at other things as well. There's speculation about a guard break mechanic, because we saw that in Ed's video, or Ed's little segment in the video, where he was doing a V-trigger string and he broke Zangief's guard. So I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but that could potentially work for Juri when she's in Feng Shui Engine as well. We don't know. There's a lot to be very excited about with this update. And I'm honestly more excited, you can probably tell it from the tone of my voice, than I have been about Street Fighter in a long time. Because it really feels like for the last couple of years, but since about Season 3, that Capcom have just been arranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. They haven't really been achieving much. Whereas this is a huge, big thing for the game. So again, hats off to Capcom. I think it's really interesting, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and really see the full extent of how it works. But that's it for me. That's my thoughts. I don't want this video to go on too long. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you excited? Are you terrified? Have you got a perspective on this that I haven't considered yet? Let me know. And I'd love to hear those thoughts from you. But that's it for me, guys. So in the meantime, kisses, hugs, and belly rubs. I will see all of you very soon.